It's time for another round of our Mom Squad, and today we're talking about the emotional and often, I would say almost always, difficult process of returning to work after having a child. Oscar nominee America Ferrera recently shared how actress Kerry Washington's help saved her during postpartum work. And joining us with their advice for supporting moms after baby are workplace parent consultant Deborah Porter and lifestyle journalist Amy Goodman, both wonderful friends to our show. Good to see both of you.
Good morning.
So, my son is 12. And I remember the day I went back to work like it was yesterday. It was so hard. I mean, why? Even though we know it's coming, we know we have to do it, we understand all the whys, why is it just so hard?
Part of it is the emotion around it, right? You're leaving this little human that just came into your life.
It needs you.
And still needs you. Part of it are the hormones that are still kind of raging. So I think it's both of those.
I think you're a woman changed. How you left a workplace and anticipating the birth of a child to coming back, having gone through that entire process, and you realize, your calling in life is now to take care of this little human being. Everything of your perspective actually has been trumped and changed. And, your perspective is so completely different. So you're dealing with all of that. And I always think, people on the surface, if they don't know that you've had a child, they have no idea the turmoil of what's going inside.
And even if they do know you've had a child, if they've not,
they can't understand.
They may not understand or be able to relate.
The thing I liked about America Ferrera giving the shout out to Kerry Washington was the point that she made that Kerry gave her very specific things. It's not just, be stronger, find your squad, take care of yourself, all these big general things. She was like, nope, here's your schedule. This is how you do it. So let's talk about the true tips, if we got a new mom at home watching, on how she can really tackle this challenge.
I think one of the things I loved about that story was how specific she was. And the other thing was that Kerry Washington clearly doesn't have a scarcity mindset, right? She's not thinking me giving you these tips and helping you is somehow going to diminish me or give me less opportunity. And so I think it is important who your squad is. I think you need to be really specific and you need to be really clear on who can support you and who's going to help you. We don't live like we used to live, right? You may not, Miss Betty's not next door, Grandma's not down the street. So who you allow into your life, that is really important.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely adore what she just said. And especially because in their professional workplace, both Kerry and America, it's extremely competitive.
Right.
So if you're the first woman to have started in your career place for now, let's say you're a stay-at-home engineer or something as a result of COVID, or you're the first woman to have done something and now you're staying at home with the kid and you're making your own tips as you go along. Again, there's no harm in then sharing that information with the next woman to help lift her up and rise up, because no matter what, your child's going to be individual. So you're going to take some of those tips. You will use some of those tips. You will add and nourish your own tips to that pile, and then hopefully pass on that wealth of knowledge to the next woman. But especially in competitive spaces where we are just vying to thrive and independently really shine as women, we feel like, if I give her these tips, will that give her a leg up in the workplace? Will she then pass me in promotion or whatnot? We have to kind of melt that down and be more community-minded in motherhood.
It kind of strikes me as like a high tide rises all boats, right? Just because you help someone else be successful doesn't mean you're not going to be successful or continue to be successful as well. Sometimes when you're a new mom, though, and you're heading back, you don't know what you don't know, right? So what are the questions you need to ask to help it be successful when you transition back?
So one thing you need to know, read your benefits package. Know what's offered and available to you. Employers say something like 80% of the employees don't even open that particular attachment when it comes in an email. So know what's available to you. Also know what's available to your partner. If you're in a heterosexual marriage, your husband should be taking all of his leave as well. And many times, guys don't do that. And so the idea here is know what your benefits are, take all of them, and then also ask for what you need, right? There's the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act that recently came out last year. Even before you have the baby, you may need reasonable accommodations. If you stand for work, you may need to sit more. You may need more breaks. Listen, if you've got a human sitting on your bladder, you're going to need more breaks. Let me just say that. So you know what's available to you and access all of it.
And even after you have the human
Yes.
You still might need
You need extra breaks.
And if you're a mom, you know.
That's right.
Yes, when I was in the magazine industry, we didn't even have a place or a breastfeeding room for a woman to go and have privacy. But also in the shared refrigerator space, there wasn't designated space for breast milk, which some coworkers really had a very strong reaction to that. I think it's very important in spaces where it isn't automatically carved out to develop those conversations with human resources and directly with your boss,
Yes.
or if you're the boss lady, conversations with yourself and human resources to make sure that you have as much support coming back to work where you can feel comfortable and empowered. And if it doesn't exist, then carving out new rules so that you can have a space if you need it for breastfeeding, or a place to mix formula that you pass on to the nanny during the day, etc.
What's the onboarding and offboarding
Right,
for when
right.
you're leaving and when you're coming back?
Deborah and Amy, thank you so much. You guys always just have such a wonderful insight. There's their information so that you can follow them. I encourage you to have them as a part of your squad. And if you were a mom out there, you can do it. Believe in yourself,
Yes.
and there's people that can help you do it. Thank you so much. Still ahead. From the creators